Thank you for giving that beautiful introduction. Welcome, one and all of you, from wherever you are, whichever part of the world. I wish you a good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you are all safe and well. I am so happy to see all of you here. And this is a new session, new program that we have planned at Uniathena Research. And the name is Uniathena Rendezvous. Every session that we have, which will be on the first Friday of every month, will be with a Uniathena's DBA or research learner who will talk to you, give you a lecture on topics related to management and business. So this was envisaged as a platform wherein our learners can interact with our other students from other programs and also with aspiring Uniathena learners. Today I have with me my DBA learner, Demetris. Demetris is one of our very good learners. He has a vast experience of more than 3 decades in business and business and management as in senior and top management roles in various industries and various continents, countries across the globe. As of now, currently, he is the managing director of his organization in Cyprus. I don't want to discuss more about him. I would actually like him to talk to you about entrepreneurship and specifically how to start a business, which is his topic for the day. So, Demetris, welcome to the program, and I hope you have a wonderful session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sri. Now, what should I say about our speaker? Mr. Demetris Hadjispokli is a distinguished figure in the world of entrepreneurship, innovation, and business development. As the co-founder and managing director of CSI, he brings a wealth of experience and expertise to his role. Before joining CSI, Demetris held the position of Director for Business Development at WorldCom's Digital Ventures Group, located in United States. In this role, he was responsible for driving business growth, managing portfolio investments, and providing support and mentorship to startups in the high-tech and life sciences sector. Throughout his career, he has worked with renowned companies such as UUNet Technologies, AOL, and MCI Telecommunications, all contributing to the development and adaptation of new ICT technologies. Demetris is widely recognized for his proficiency in intellectual property rights, entrepreneurship, innovation ecosystem, operational efficiencies, and project planning and management. He is an innovator himself, having established multiple successful ventures that makes him a serial entrepreneur. Moreover, Demetris is passionate about nurturing and guiding the next generation of entrepreneurs. He serves as a mentor and coach in various business idea development ecosystems, particularly focusing on inspiring and motivating young minds. One of Demetris' notable accomplishments is his dedication towards fostering strong connections between academia and businesses. He spearheads the establishment and management of liaison offices between academic institutions and businesses in Cyprus, aiming to facilitate collaboration and knowledge exchange. During his tenure as the managing director of Helix Business Incubator, associated with the University of Nicosia and the Cyprus Institute of Neurology and Genetics, he focused on investing in and mentoring startups in the field of ICT and life sciences. Demetris' commitment to youth development extends beyond entrepreneurship. He has introduced and developed the Junior Achievement Program in Cyprus, which empowers young individuals to become confident and engaged members of society. Furthermore, he leverages his academic background, holding a BSBA in Marketing and International Business, an MBA in Strategic Planning and Entrepreneurship Development from the Ohio State University, and an LLM in Corporate Law and Intellectual Property Rights from the University of Salford. Currently, Demetris is channeling his knowledge, energy, experience, and leadership skills into the organization I Feel Youth, which aims to enhance confidence and empathy among the youth. By combining his academics and business acumen with discipline, critical thinking, commitment, decision making, and leadership, he strives to make a positive impact on the lives of young people. I believe it would be our honor and privilege to hear you speak, sir, for today's session. Over to you, sir.
Wow, I'm humble. I didn't think you were going to read all that. But okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction. It's exciting for me to participate on the inaugural sharing of ideas, I guess. I don't like to call it lecture. And, you know, having been with you guys for the last few months, I know the passion that you have for learning as well, and your commitment to all of us. So let me try to kind of meet some of these expectations, but I'm the first. So it's good and bad. The good thing is like there is no expectations, right? So, but I'm going to try to share this information that I have worked on for the last 35 years with you to kind of support in bridging this first step that is always the most difficult step that everybody needs to take when they want to establish their own business. Many times when I talk to people, you know, everybody has ideas, many ideas. When we take shower, when we drive in the car alone, when we have dreams and we wake up in shock and we wonder what's going on. But the most difficult thing and the most the question that I get most often is, how do I start? You know, how do I take that first step? What do I do first? And when you pick up a book or when you read, you know, some papers and all that, in all honesty, we make it very difficult for the layman person to feel confident to understand what is that first step and take that first step. Now, going back a little bit on why I'm involved in the things that I'm involved today, it was exactly that. My earlier years were on the venture capital side, making money for a lot of different people. And that after a while, it becomes very, not a nice thing, not happy. It doesn't make you smile. It doesn't take you to this Maslow hierarchy of need things at the top, the self-actualization. So coming back home from the United States after being there for 27 years, I was wondering, how do we move societies forward? You know, what do we do? What do we need to do to basically move our societies forward outside this realm of fast-growing and fast-paced technology? Because a lot of times we kind of get trapped into all this fancy stuff, the technology, the internet, the tools that we have in our hands and all that. And we forget what is important in life and we get lost, okay? So the idea was, what do we need to do to bring everybody back to the fundamentals of what is a business? Because at the end of the day, yes, you're running a business to make money, but why not make money and do something good for the society as well? Why not have that combination? And then talk about the diversity, equality, and inclusion, the ESG and PSR, and all these nice labels and tags that everybody's talking about, but doing it in a kind of a significant, impactful way. So looking around, we were able to identify two things that kind of make a difference when you are running a business. And actually, those are the two same things that make a difference when you're trying to kind of direct societies into a different path. And those two things are confidence and empathy. And unfortunately, those two things are missing from a lot of human beings, exactly because we get trapped into this race, this daily race that we go through to do the things that at the end of the day are not important, okay? So working on this idea of building confidence and empathy, in Greek, the word empathy is called ensiness. This is a very beautiful word. I was thinking, like, say, okay, what do I do with that? Then the answer, the immediate answer was, let's go and talk to the kids, because older people like me, they don't change. We're stubborn. We have our ideas and all that, and it's very, very difficult to change us. So why not go and work with the kids? And therefore was a junior achievement and all that stuff. But through that process, it kind of gives people an idea of, what it is to start the business. So if we can share the presentation, can we share the presentation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is somebody going to share it, or do I have to share it?
No, we can share it.
Okay, great. So the presentation here is obviously formal. So we have something tangible to go through and look at, because people learn in different ways. I'm not going to read the presentation, but I will share it with you. You guys can share it with everybody. I'm not the type who reads presentations. So I'm going to kind of try to navigate through and share with you a couple of practical ways in terms of what is important and what are the things that we need to think about when we are building a business. So the slides, I will move the slides, or somebody else?
Demetrius, you can just let us know, and we'll move the slides.
Okay.
Yeah. Just tell
so
us
let's go. Obviously, my current company is a set. Excuse me?
Yes.
Is my screen visible? I've shared the presentation.
Yes, the screen is visible.
Yes,
the slides are visible.
Yes. So as you can see there, my company is Center for Social Innovation. And what we do is we address systemic social challenges that include developing business practices within the community. And obviously, with the appreciation of Uni Athena, who is kindly hosting me during this session. So first of all, let's say, discuss what is a business, why would somebody set up a business? And a business could be a social business, a for-profit business. It could be a community business. It could be an NGO. It could be anything. Because the first kind of fundamental that I will share with you is like, no matter what kind of venture or enterprise anybody wants to set up, we need to think about the same fundamentals when you are running that business. So for example, if you decide to set up an NGO, you need to make sure that that NGO is sustainable. How is it sustainable? By securing funding from somewhere. Now, a lot of NGOs or nonprofits, what they do is they go into this trap where they try to get a lot of benefactors or people that are going to fund that venture. And what happens most of the time is that is good when there is money in the market that is available. But when there is a bad economic downturn, then the first money that dries out is that money. So if even if the enterprise is a nonprofit, if you rely on that, then you're going to have cyclical problems when it comes to funding. Therefore, you don't have sustainability. Therefore, you cannot manage your programs. That's why I'm saying, regardless of what it is, and I want to make this point up front, you have to be sustainable financially. You have to have alternatives, ways to finance your venture, your enterprise, so you don't get into these cyclical financial problems. So what is a business? A business is simple, a simple description, is an enterprise that is set up to address a particular problem that is of a size that has enough takers, buyers, users, whatever you want to call it, and those buyers, users, takers are willing to pay for it in a rate that your business can be financially sustainable. So my basic definition of business is that, okay, and then we'll go through and we'll figure out, what are these problems, what are these audience or buyers or whatever. So within a business, when you first think about it, you have to think about, and we'll talk about it in detail later, but we have to think about, the first thing that we have to think about is, what is the purpose of the business? Okay, what do you want to do? Yes, you identify the problem, and perhaps there's some people that are willing to, that have that need, since it is a problem, but then you want to set it up in some way. Setting it up is the first point where people begin falling off the wagon. Because when you begin thinking about setting up a business, and when you begin to think about, accounting and finances and logistics and human resources and hiring and firing people and paying salaries and dealing with the bank and the lawyers and all that, if you are not used to that, it becomes very difficult to put your arms around it. And I understand that. But it's like a bicycle or like anything else that we do in life, driving a car. The first time you do it, it's extremely difficult. You cannot understand or comprehend, our minds cannot cognitively understand the different pieces that go together. But once you do it a couple of times, it becomes innate. You just go. You get on a bicycle and you go. You get in a car and you're not thinking anymore, I'm going to drive and I'm going to push the pedal and I'm going to hold the wheel and all that. You just go. It becomes part of who you are. So the first questions that we need to ask, and I'm a big advocate of not just thinking, but actually writing down. And there's a reason why we write down things. The reason we write down things is so we download from our hardware. So we don't have to remember about the little stuff. We can make our brain available to think about the big stuff. So we put everything down and we write, what is the purpose of this business? What kind of problem I want to solve? Who is willing to buy? How do I plan to solve the problem? Do I have partners that can do it? Do I need to do it myself? If I need to buy it from somewhere else, what is the cost? So you're beginning to think about this little stuff that kind of give you a direction of not only I want to build a business just for the sake of building a business, but a business that actually is going to help some people address a problem. So if we can go to the next slide, please. So keep in mind that for sure, and talking about the fundamentals now, you do have to have that purpose. Now, the purpose should not be a tactical purpose, to make money or, to become the best, X, Y, and Z business person. And I will give you a purpose of my company, for example, to put some substance into it. Our purpose is to improve quality of life of the people around us. Okay, that's our purpose as a company. Anything that we do, we view through that lens. Anything that we do, any program, any project, any agreement that we do, any networking, any relationship that we have goes through that purpose. How does that action that we take leads us to fulfilling that purpose, that is to improve quality of life? To the point where even if a relationship is going to give us substantial financial comfort, we will not go into that business if it does not help us support that central purpose that we have as an organization. So let's define your purpose, and then everything that you do, view through that lens. And I'll give you examples as we move along. That purpose is going to drive our strategy, it's going to drive our objectives, and it's going to drive our tactical actions that we do every day so we can achieve that purpose. Again, back to the ladder: actions, objectives, strategy, and purpose. Now, those do not have to be complex academic definitions. Okay, when we say action, today I'm going to go to a school and I'm going to talk to young people about what it means to be confident and have empathy and care about society, and how does that impact the community where we live, and improves quality of life and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to be, something very complicated at the beginning when you begin setting up a business, because if you make it complicated and you wait for it to be 100% ready to go, you will never get it done. It's always going to seem very difficult and very unattainable in your mind. Now, it's very important to understand a little bit of finances. Again, nothing crazy. For example, you have to have cash. One big problem that people have here is that, again, they get bungled into to set up a business. I need an office, electricity, computers, somebody to clean it. They have this complete picture in their mind, and then they begin putting numbers down, and they will figure out very quickly that I don't have the resources, I don't have the finances to start sparkling clean, this perfect setup, and then begin selling. Okay, so I will say it's better than to be 70 and 80% done and go, and come and make the adjustments later, than to begin to wait for it to begin to become 100% perfect. Talking about my plan before I take off. Okay, so try things at the beginning. You are gonna try things, and you don't have to go and make all these unproductive expenses. Like, for example, you don't have to have a nice shiny office. Work from home to begin with. You don't have to have the best computer that there is. You don't have to have the best, of anything. Just start. Take a step, okay? However, you need to know exactly what your minimum expenses are, and then secure as much of that money as possible from the beginning, okay? Now, securing money doesn't mean that you go to the bank to get a loan. And even if you can get a loan, which in most cases is very difficult, you're going to have high interest rate, which means that the cost of borrowing the money is going to be very expensive, okay? Maybe don't go to dinners as much. Maybe don't go on vacation for a couple of years. Maybe don't buy expensive or a lot of clothes. Maybe, you start from the little things, because becoming an entrepreneur, it's a mentality. It's not about having the luxurious lifestyle. It's about doing everything that you can possibly do to, again, take that first step and begin your business. And then slowly, you are going to get the resources to do all the other good stuff, even though I'm not one to advocate luxury. For those who want the luxury, there's going to be a point where that's going to come as well. But you have to make sacrifices at the beginning. So sales, in addition to understanding your cash, where is the money? And the cash is important, because you cannot say, I'm going to have cash for 5 months, and then I have no plan after 5 months. And then you go into what is called a death valley, and there is nothing you can do to move your idea or business forward. Now, the second important thing, and actually this is the number one important thing, but because cash is a driving factor here, I put it first. It's sales. So you're going to do whatever you're going to do is being a service or a product or whatever you're going to do, you need to sell it to somebody. So you need to be able to withstand rejection, because when you try to sell something, especially if it's something that is not branded, people don't know it, they don't trust you yet as somebody in the marketplace, they don't have the confidence perhaps. You need to have the ability to go out there and make a good case for why you believe your product or your service is worth paying for, and it's going to solve a problem. And to be able to do that, you have to be able to do it clearly. You have to practice in front of the mirror, in the car, wherever you are, what it is that you're trying to sell, and why is it going to have a positive impact in somebody's life, and why that person should be willing to give you some money for it. Okay. Again, going back to rejection is the thing that happens to us most often in our lives. Dad, I want to buy a ball. No, son, I'm not going to buy you a ball. Okay, rejection from the moment we are little to the moment we grow up in relationships, in business networking, in business collaborations and all that, we will be rejected. The art here is to learn how to deal with that. So psychologically, we don't crash every single time. Yet every single time we get rejected, we need to learn from it. And we need to be able to continue taking that first step. As you can see behind my office here, my motto is keep moving forward, okay, regardless of what happens in life. Now, what makes you different is not necessarily the product or the service that you are going to put out there in the marketplace. What makes us significant is our care for our customer. And what is the connection here is when we become trusted advisor to our customer, when they begin trusting us, it means that we don't even have to sell it to anybody. Okay, they will trust us when we put out there and when we tell them some information, that this information is credible, is truthful. Okay, and I really believe in what I call radical truthfulness and radical transparency. Okay, so we're talking about quality, the customer care, being honest, and being open with communication. So at the beginning, for example, we're going to have problems with our services and our products because we are not an established company. We are missing some segments and all that. So we are going to make mistakes. We need to be able to communicate openly why a certain mistake took place and how we are planning to address that mistake and how we are planning to learn from that mistake. So we begin building this trusting relationship between us and our potential customers, and in that respect, our partners and our potential collaborators. If we can go to the next slide, please. So, when we build the business based on fundamentals, we have, again, to ensure, and I'm going to go through this quickly because we touched on a lot of things on this slide. We have to begin thinking about sustainability continually. When I talk to my people here, I tell them that my number one priority at this point is financial health of the organization. Okay, when you have financial health, the other thing that it does, besides the continuity you have in your business, your people feel confident that they are going to have work, we are going to have a job next year, in 6 months. If the people that work in the company are not confident that the leadership of the organization is financially intelligent, then you have situations, you have high turnover, because number one, you cannot compensate them properly, and number two, they are not confident that they are going to have a job next year, therefore they're continually going to be looking for a job. And that is a big problem because it takes a lot of money and resources to train somebody to do a job. So if you lose people continually, it increases the cost of doing business. Sustainability also ensures that the challenge will be addressed effectively longer term. Okay, so if I have a product or if I have a service that is based on addressing a particular problem, and that solution that I'm putting in the market, it's gonna need a continual development. So somebody else doesn't catch up with me. I'm gonna need to put money into developing my products and services continually. Okay, think about the development cycle of any product: computers, telephones, cars, even homes where we live. People, companies that remain stagnant at one location, they're not going to be successful. That's obvious. So we need to have sustainability even for continuing our business and our product development. And the last thing I'm going to leave you from here, from this slide, is this continuity that we're talking about doesn't need to come only from us. The relationships that we have are also going to help us sustain the business model in the particular time that we want to run while we are running our business. Let's go to the next one, please. So when we are running a business, we basically need three kinds of resources. One is money, the other is people, and the other is time. Okay. Let me talk about time first, even though it's third on the list. When we are thinking, let's say we went through and we define our purposes and what we want to do, and maybe we did some market research. And please, when you do your market research, don't just ask your friends, because your friends are going to say, yes, if you do this, I'm going to buy it from you. Okay. And I will give you a personal story. I'm a martial arts teacher. Okay. And for 35 years. And a lot of my friends will keep saying to me, hey, you know, why don't you open a school so we can come and practice, you know, nice stuff. Maybe you share them with us. And after, 10, 15 years of listening to this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to open a dojo. I'm going to open a school, and I'm going to run it in the evening for a couple of hours so people can come and I will share my knowledge in that area together with them. The end of the story was that I opened the school. I invested some money, but my expectations was not that I was going to make money. It was just to share the knowledge. And that was a good thing in this particular case. And the majority of the people that were telling me that, yes, we're going to come and please do this for us and all that, 90% of these people never showed up. I mean, the school ended up having 200 students and all that, so it was okay. I ended up giving it up, selling it basically, because my daughter kept telling me, Dad, you come home at 10 o'clock at night and I want to see you and I don't see you at all and all that, so I sold it. But ask in a normal way, maybe run a small research, maybe walk around and tell people what you want to do, maybe go and look at statistics and make sure that when you define what is this need or this problem that you want to solve, make sure it's real. It's not people just talking, because people like to talk. The other thing on time is that you have to be willing to make sacrifices on time. Okay, summer is going to come up and your family is going to want to go to the beach, but then you have to sit in the office and you have to work to develop your processes and and procedures and talk to people and work higher and all that stuff. Okay. And this is just a small example. You have to make sure that, especially if you are not alone, that the people that will be affected, your spouse, your kids, your family, your family, they understand what the commitment is. And they understand that sometimes you're going to be cranky because things didn't work for you. You're going to need their support and a hug and a kiss and a good pat on the back. Okay. So very important for you to understand time requirements, but it's also very important for the people around you. Now, when you have people around you that love you and care about you, and you're going to hear me talk about loving and all that a lot, because I think it's very important. And if you don't believe me, find a person that you trust and ask them to give you a hug. There's nothing better, guys. Okay. Nothing more powerful, more energizing, that feeling that people are next to you to support you. Okay. So make sure that you understand that. Next is people. Very critical to have people around you that, I'm not talking about family now, I'm talking about people that are actually going to be in the business, running it with you, supporting you, and doing the actual work. Maybe it's one person at the beginning. Maybe then it becomes 2 and 4 and 6 and all that. You have to build a culture. And this culture should be unique to who you are as a human being. Like, for example, if you like to help people and the people that you're going to bring in to help you don't like to help people, there is a conflict there, a major conflict within the culture. So people need to believe in what you do and how you propose doing it. I mean, you're going to hear, you're going to listen to people, but you cannot break from your fundamental values. You cannot break from your value system, okay? Because it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be conflict, and you are going to invest your time instead of building your products and services into making people feel good, okay? And people should feel good because they believe in what you collectively do with this business. So people is very important. It's also very important, besides the soft stuff, being good human beings and all that, to have knowledge. Knowledge that you need to complement your knowledge so you can complete this puzzle of whatever it is that you need to deliver this product and services in the market in a profitable, sustainable way. Okay. And then the third one is the money, because I will tell you for sure, even if you have the money, if you don't have the people and the time, you cannot do it. Now, if you have the people and the time and you don't have the money, you might have a chance. But if you don't have the people and the time, you don't have a chance. Okay. So make sure time and people is there and they understand what you want to do and they are with you. And together you are marching towards achieving that initial purpose that we talk about. Now, all these resources is what I just described must align. Okay. They must come together. Okay. Sometimes people say that when you set up a business at the beginning is confusing and there is no direction and all that. I really believe that that's wrong. Even if you have one person next to you and you have one purpose and you have the simplest business, you can have alignment and you can have a common understanding and a common direction. Okay, so you need to help to understand that. Now, when it comes to planning for the business, one of the first things that you are going to hear or you are going to read is you have to have a business plan. Okay. And then you go, I mean, how do I do the business plan? And then you download the template from the internet, you go to a consultant, and the consultant is going to ask you crazy money, which you don't have anyways. And if you go and get a template from the internet, it's going to be a business plan that is 50 pages long that will be obsolete and irrelevant in 3 months. Okay. I don't like business plans, personally. Okay, never use them, even from the beginning when I started. What I like to use is roadmaps. You know, what are the different stages that I need to go through, okay, to attain my purpose, my goals, the goals that I kind of set up that are going to help me to attain my purposes. Because yes, I want to go from point A to point Z. And I know where I want to go. Of course, I'm always going to be flexible and agile and all those nice business words. Okay. But I need to know approximately, I'm going to go from A to Z, the journey that I'm going to take to go there, especially if you have the component of resources, time and money. The most likely scenario is not the journey that you're designing from the beginning. Okay. So you need to be able to, yes, I know where I'm going to go, where I want to go, but you need to be very, 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 very flexible when it comes to the in-between. So you go and you waste your time and money to build a 50-page business plan. It becomes obsolete in 3 months. It's very difficult to follow anyways. And then you're stuck because you don't have a direction. A roadmap that is 2, 3, 4, 5 maximum pages long, that is there, possibly on a wall somewhere at the beginning. Okay. I use a lot of my windows. Okay. I write on my windows with an erasable marker, and I delete and I cross and I put hearts next to the good stuff and, you know, other stuff next to the bad stuff. So you need every morning to begin looking at this roadmap that you're putting together. And you need to kind of realign your business. You know how you use Google Maps? And then you kind of move it a little bit, and then there is a realignment button there, and you push it, and it brings the map into a focus. It's the same thing, okay? So you need to answer. Thank you. It's okay. You need to answer these basic questions. You know, why is somebody's going to buy from you, or what is your purpose? And I'm repeating myself because these are the very important things. So yes, when we are talking about business functions, and we're going to the next slide, it's all those things right there. Eventually, when you become an Amazon and Google and Microsoft, whatever, you're going to need all those things. You're going to need an HR department, communications team and logistics and finance and all that stuff. It's good to be aware of those things. It's good to be aware of the functionality of those things, but you don't need to bog yourself down into, design and all this stuff. Okay, you're going to be a one-person show, and you're going to be agile and flexible, and you're going to fight through every day until you get to the point where you get traction. And once you get traction and you begin, your sales begin catching up, and your collaborations and relationships, and you begin believing in yourself. I mean, just to be honest, because yes, you identify the problem and all that good stuff, and you think that is unique, but I will tell you that there is no idea that is unique, okay? There's ideas that are a little bit different from each other, but even if it's unique in bibliography, it's obvious that the second person who is going to come in, or the third person is going to come in the market, they are going to be much more efficient than you because they didn't invest all the resources to develop the market, to develop the concept, the product, or the service. So you need to keep up to pace with what's going on every day and not really worry about the big stuff. The smaller the enterprise, the leaner it must be. You cannot spend money on crazy stuff, okay? You need to make sure that you rationalize your business model and spend absolutely what is necessary to take you to the next step. So basically, you have to stretch your resources to last you as long as possible, okay? Again, I will give you one example. I built a lot of businesses in my life. I failed in a lot of them. I was successful in a lot of them in 3 different continents. Just before COVID, I challenged with a message in Cyprus every business person not to lay off anybody, and not only that, but to go and hire one person, each healthy company, to hire one additional person so people didn't lose their jobs, because it's obvious that when the economic cycle kind of cools down, it affects everybody. And also, when you're talking about an organization like ours, where we care about people and improving quality of lives, if a person loses their job, psychologically, the community, the society is not good. Therefore, they're not going to spend, they're not going to go out there, all this kind of stuff. So I challenged, and everybody was, all the other good business people, they thought I was crazy with the messages that they were sending me and all that. A long story short, we are the fastest growing company in Europe when it comes to the business that we are in. Before COVID, we had 5 people. Right now, we have 62 people in Cyprus, and we have offices in 5 different countries. And that all happens because we took an opportunity during a downtime to develop our relationships, talk to people, help them understand what we are offering in the marketplace, going to the various ministries within the government and explaining to them what we are doing, working with the European Commission to help them understand why what we do will have a significant impact on, how people interact. So when the market kind of took off, slowly, even within COVID, we began investing some money and hiring people to train them and get them ready when this thing were going to open up. And then we took off. While some other companies that they didn't believe in this kind of thinking, they went out of business. So even in downtime, you have to be ready, but the ready means that you have to be lean. You have to be able to move quickly from one place to another and being able to identify the opportunities. So if tomorrow I say I have an idea to make Coffee Max, okay, but Coffee Max in 6 months is not something that I see that is going to be working, even though my initial planning and work told me otherwise. Still, I'm going to change and I'm going to make the adjustment. One other thing from this slide, and we'll go to the next one. You can move it to the next one, please, is always take inventory of the people that work with you. Always know their capacity and their capability. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. We started a little bit late. So how long do we have so I can adjust?
You can continue, Dimitri. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. So let me know when I have to. Okay.
No, you can.
Okay.
We started. I think we started in about 20 minutes or so after we started rolling.
Okay.
You can easily continue.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. So hopefully people find this useful. So as we said, all business functions are necessary within a business. And you do have to understand, and a lot of people that set up a business, maybe they don't understand the details, and you don't have to know the details or be an expert, but you have to understand what's going on. And I will give you an example that they have there on the slide. Now, when we say, for example, that accounting and finance is a very important function within the organization, obviously, you're not going to go when you're a startup and hire a certified accountant that commands, I think in all countries, crazy amounts of money to help you run a business that is like 2 people and you sell 2 coffee mugs a week, right? However, as a business owner, you need to understand what the terminology means and what are the necessary tools that you need to help you run your business. Like, for example, what is managerial accounting? What is financial management? What is account management? Why is invoicing on time important? Why collecting your money is important? Why having reports on accounts receivable, money that people owe you, and having that report on your desk every morning, on your digital desk, is very important. Because even if you sell, for example, in this particular case, let's say you sell a lot of stuff, but people don't pay you, it means that your cash position in the bank is going to be empty. It's going to be zero. So when a problem comes, you're not going to be able to meet the problem. Where you cannot meet the problem, remember that even nice people that say that want to help you at the beginning, banks or whatever, friends and family, when the money runs out, you're going to find out that they're not as nice. Okay, they're going to come and they're going to say, okay, I want my money back. I want my payment quickly. I want this and that. And when you don't have the cash, then your decision-making becomes different, okay? You don't speak from the position of strength anymore. So you need to understand all those things. You need to understand your invoicing and your accounts receivable and how much people owe you money and who are the people that pay on time and well and who are the people that never pay you, and maybe make them go away and never have them as customers anymore. So there is a lot of rationalization that goes there. And this is just an example with the accounting concept. The same with everything else, okay? Fulfillment. I'm sending the products out when I'm supposed to send them. I'm not delaying, because if you delay, there's going to be delay in getting your money. There's going to be dissatisfaction with your customers. So anything that we do within the business, we have to show our care and our concern and our love for what we do. And that eventually is going to show, and it's going to be appreciated. And that's when the word of mouth kicks in. The same way it's going to kick in when things are negative, when there is a negative capital created, right? So you always have to be caring and honest and truthful about your business, and make sure that your customer care is top notch. Okay. Let's go to the next one. And I'm going to leave you with this slide by saying that all these pieces together are interconnecting, like a gearbox within the car is interconnected. So again, nobody is setting up a business from the beginning perfectly. Okay, show me somebody who said that the business is perfect, and I will show you a failure. Okay, so we don't need German precision. Okay, we need some flexibility to move around, to be able to adjust. So the step one is to develop the ultimate business map. We talk about that. How do you want your business to be structured? What are the resources that you need the next 1 month, 6 months, 12 months? I would say rigid planning for the first month, what they say about 2, 3, 5, 10-year plan is irrelevant to me, other than at the strategic level, because nobody can estimate unless you are a big business, and even there they cannot estimate accurately. But they do it for other purposes, especially companies that are introduced in the stock markets and all that. There is no purpose for a small business to do, a 2, 3, 5, 10-year plans. Okay, but strategy, yes. Okay. Understand the needs of the business. So basically putting together what we already talked about, understand the need of the business and what I need to put our minimum viable product out there or service. Okay. Understanding, take inventory of internally available skill sets. I mentioned that. I'm putting just in steps here. What do people know? How can people help us? Even if you hire somebody to be on the production line, maybe they have a skill that you will need as a young business, and then when you pull that person in and say, okay, you do that job, but how about if you help us here? Because we need this support, but we cannot pay somebody else extra to do this job. Please help for the next 2, 3 months, 4 months, and you will get compensated at some point as well, and all that. So very important to have the data, but also change the data into information. There's a difference between data and information, right? You have data, then you need to understand what this data means in relation to your business. Now, what are the gaps? I know my skills. I know what is needed. What are my gaps? And the gaps is not a one-time shot like anything else in business, right? If you have a gap today and you cover that gap, you fix it, 2, 3 months down the road, 1 month down the road, tomorrow, maybe that there is another gap that kind of shows up, right? Be as clear as possible what the expectations, the roles and responsibilities are for each person. But always have that kind of flexibility introduced there. But do be specific on what the expectations are. The same we talk about, let your family know about the expectations on time and all that. Let your people know what the expectations are. Or like, yeah, sometimes I'm gonna need you on Wednesday evening to stay a little bit later because we have something to deliver, because we need to work on the development of a new product, because of, whatever it is. So they understand. When I hire people, I basically try to understand 2 things: how hardworking they are, and if they are good people. That's it. Okay. Everything else, unless there is there's something very specific with very specific skill sets, those are the only 2 things that I need to understand. Okay. If they are willing to work hard and if they are good human beings, that's all. Okay. And then you need to have this, and we can go to the next slide, please. We have to have this constant thinking and realignment of the business. Okay. So we talk about constant evaluation, constant realignment, and we also touch a little bit on this idea of being transparent and clear and accurate and consistent. Okay. As a leader, if you're not consistent and you're not transparent and clear in terms of what you want to do, you are going to lose trust from your people. Okay. You need to give them this feeling of comfort and real leadership so they can trust you that you're going to carry them through difficult times, and you're going to be the one who's going to lead it, again, together with their support, and them being around you to kind of drive what you want to accomplish as a leader of the organization. Let's go to the next one, please. So again, we touched a little bit about this particular slide on what's on this slide. However, I want to go through these steps here very quickly, just as a summary for this particular, why do we exist? So we need to know the problem. We need to understand why the problem exists. Is it temporary? Is it something that is the reason the problem exists, something that's going to go away, like COVID, for example? So therefore, what you are going to set up is opportunistic. Therefore, you need to, know that it's not a product or a service that you're going to put out there. It's going to be for the next 10, 20, 30 years, and you're going to continue development and all that. Like, for example, companies that were doing masks during COVID, they had to increase production because it was an opportunity for a couple of years. They didn't even know for how long to produce these number of masks. Pharmaceuticals, for example, opportunity to come with a solution quickly, put it out in the marketplace, knowing that probably it's not going to be sustainable for the longer period for long term. Is this a temporary problem or a sustainable problem? Is it important to solve this problem? Who has this problem? Who are the people, the organizations? How many people or organizations have this problem? How do you plan to solve it? When do you plan to solve this problem? Timing is of importance. So in the case of COVID, for example, if it took you 3 years to develop a vaccine, you're done. You were not able to capture that opportunity there. Is there a viable number of people willing to pay for this solution? For example, if the vaccine was €1 million each, probably you wouldn't have enough market out there. Okay, it was free. Everybody wanted to buy it. Of course, it wasn't free because somebody was paying for it, but you get the idea. Would this price and number of potential buyers create an economic opportunity that can be leveraged? Does the solution solve the problem directly, or does it create an alternative? Does someone else work to solve the same problem? And a very important question is your solution better, faster, and cheaper? Very important to understand that, because that kind of set the stage for the competition. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. And this is going to be easy because we talked about that already. So you define the problem, you develop a solution, potential customers that have reasons to buy that solution. And all the other things that are on this slide talk about the potential of the solution, and it addresses the issues that we talk about. What kind of organization do you need to set up to deliver this solution? Is it an ongoing problem? An example that I have there is the pharmaceutical industry, where, for example, diabetes products. If somebody has diabetes, the most likely scenario that they're going to have diabetes until the end of their lives is very high. So you know that you have captivated audience there in this particular case. You run a business differently when it's that kind of thing as opposed to if it's something temporary. Let's go to the next slide, please. The next slide, it talks about the resources. We talk about the planning and what I believe is appropriate. 1 year planning that is solid and rigid, and then the other should be soft. One of the things that I want to address from this slide is the cost of getting money. How much is it going to cost you? And I touched a little bit at the beginning to get money. If it's equity money, if it's cash money, if it's loans. I will give you an example here. The less certain whoever is going to give you money is, the higher cost you have in getting the money. And you do not want to ask money when you don't need it and get into this situation where the cost to get that money is high, because you are going to find it down the road. And especially if it's money that is a loan and it has a high interest rate, the cycle maybe is going to be very difficult for you to repay the money. The second difficult thing is that if you go for equity very quickly, obviously you are going to give a lot of your company up to with some equity, and that at the end of the day is not going to be good, especially if you get equity money from people that cannot help you on how you run a business, how to introduce you to buyers, and all that, and they just come in for money. My suggestion here: never get money that is very expensive. Never get money from people that cannot help you in other things other than just give you money. Okay, if somebody just wants to come and give you money to do it, don't take the money. Prefer not to take the money. Okay, go and find money from people that understand the business and that they're going to give you something else that are going to make you stronger as a business. Okay, and let's go to the next slide. Again, use simple roadmaps. Define where you want to go and leave your journey flexible. Start even when you are not 100% ready. And I will tell you a story here. When I was in the States, I don't know if you know about the Super Bowl and the advertisements during the Super Bowl. One company, like a competitor of us, will come in and announce a service in the telecom industry. And even though we didn't have the service, the next day we will announce a similar or a better service, even though we didn't have it. Okay. And we will set up a call center to take orders, and we'll say, not we, I mean, as a company, it was strange to me at the beginning because I was very young when this was happening and I didn't understand it, but they will say, okay, our backlog is very long. We are going to deliver your product in 6 months, in 4 months, in 5 months, whatever. And within that period, we will actually sit down and develop a product that was really better than what was announced during the Super Bowl advertisement, right? So go get out there, even if you're not 100% ready, and then you will figure it out if you have the right people around you with the right skill and the right resources. Be realistic and use critical thinking, build a network, and ask a lot of questions, and ask for help. And I would say the following: is better to ask and get a no for an answer than to ask nothing. Because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Okay, ask and see what's going to happen. Maybe you don't like the answer. Maybe it's not the answer that you're looking for. Maybe it's not the answer that is going to help you, but ask and figure out from there, what is the next step. So in summary, if you have a good idea where there is a market, a defined market out there, and you do some soft research, and hope, thankfully there is a lot of resources out there to run a quick research, market research with Google Forms or SurveyMonkey or whatever. There's a lot of tools out there. Do some research, and once you identify a place, a product, a service that meets this idea of a problem that has a lot of people that need to solve that problem, that are willing to pay for it sustainably, and your equation and your money, your equation and your resources work together, go for it. Don't be afraid. However, be ready to make sacrifices in time, resources, your relationships, as long as you are clear in terms of communicating what it is. I think, and maybe we have another lecture to go through the very details of how all this is done down the road. All this is going to help you, put you in a trajectory where you could be successful. Okay. Learn how to deal with rejection. Very useful in life. Okay. And yes, we are all going to have problems, but we need to learn how to fight through the problems and how to learn on how to overcome difficulties. Now, there is one slide there, and I don't know if you guys are going to share it. I mean, you have my permission, I guess, to share it with everybody. There is something called practice. I call practice run here. I put it there to give you kind of 5 bullet points to help you try a couple of things. So go there, answer these 5 bullet points, play around with it, and I guess there might be a way for you to ask questions. I guess even down the road, please feel free to send me questions or ask for my support, and I will try to accommodate as much as possible. Thank you very much. I love you. Hopefully this was useful. And I don't know what is the next step, but this is what I have to share for now. I know it was a tight time, and these things are very complex sometimes, but hopefully gave you kind of the idea and gave you the energy to try something, you know? Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing a knowledge-packed session with us. Now we'll have the question answer session. So anybody who wants to ask questions, please type it in the QA box, and I shall ask the speaker and he shall answer the questions. And if you want the PPT, please, I have already typed the email ID in the chat box. Please send in your email, send an email there. And if you want the webinar recording, it is live on UniAthena YouTube channel and you can access it there. Now, coming to our questions, we have a first question from your lecture. One discovered that formal knowledge are vital in setting up a business. How do you go about it? It's from Nigeria, from Osuntobo.
Okay, if I understand the question is that formal knowledge is important to start your own business.
Yes,
is that what he's saying?
Yes, is formal knowledge really required?
Yes. Well, I will tell you, you're speaking, you're asking a person who is a continual educational development, because I believe in education and learning from people. I mean, look at this experience here you with UniAthena and all this valuable input that feedback that we get every day. And yes, we should listen, because that's why we have 2 years and 1 month, right? 2 years to listen, because it's 2 times more difficult to hear things and understand than to say things, right? So we should always learn. However, we should not just focus on learning. At the end of the day, you are gonna hear so many times in terms of how you make a dish, but unless you try it, and you try how much salt you're gonna put in there, and how much potatoes, and how much, whatever we're putting into a particular dish, and you bring it to a point where it's a taste that you want, you are not gonna understand it, you're not gonna know what is that knowledge. Yes, knowledge is important. There's a lot of courses at this particular platform, UniAthena, but thankfully with the advent of the internet, there is a lot of ways to get knowledge, but practice the knowledge that you get. And I will give you a story. Yesterday I was at the beach. Okay, I'm on an island. It's very easy to go to the beach. And there was a guy who was there who was unemployed. And we were talking, very young guy, was 23 years old. And I said, did you ever think about trying up sea salt, selling the sea salt? And here, what are you talking about? I said, it's easy. I mean, and I pulled up the internet and I showed him how to do that. And I said, you don't need any investment. You just need time to get the water, put it in these containers and wait for it to dry out. And then put it in little plastic bags and sell them to these people that come to the beach. And if you do this, you're going to make this money, and therefore you have some money to do other things and all that. I mean, simple stuff. Even if it's simple stuff, get your juices going in terms about thinking entrepreneurially, and you're going to find a way to get it done.
Okay. I hope that answers the question. Okay,
Hopefully.
Our next question is, as someone from Nigeria, how can data analysis impact my life positively?
Data analysis. Data analysis is scary, okay? Because when you do data analysis, you're going to find things that you don't like, probably. So when you do data analysis, and there is a lot of ways to do it, especially with artificial intelligence and the tools that are freely available to all of us, there is so many ways to do data analysis. Okay, but if you're talking about data analysis to improving your quality of life, it depends on the circumstances. You have to be systematic about that if you want to do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it for life, because life should be much more easier and fun than that. But if you want to do it, you have to be systematic, and you are trained through this program that we are all in to do a very, very good, as I found out, with the help of my advisor, Dr. Anna Madir, and the rest of you guys. there is ways to, I guess, structure it and learn from it and become better. So use the tools that we learn here.
And I hope that answers. Next question. There are two questions. So, is there difference between strategy and objectives? Please give an example. And what is the process to translate a purpose into strategy, objectives, and actions?
Okay. The difference between strategy and objectives. I will bring you from purpose, and I will give an example from our organization. Our purpose, so you can understand the difference. Our purpose is to improve quality of life. Okay. So our strategy in terms of achieving that is to put together the best resources available, and that's time, money, and people, to achieve that objective. So when we hire somebody,